The Geek Speak Show is produced and distributed by 22 Creations Multimedia, LLC.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad.
Yeah, we know. Everyone has issues nowadays.
I want you to get mad.
This is where we get to talk about them, openly.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
No shouting, no arguing. Just punching a pillow, if you will. But not all the issues are bad. Some are fun and exciting. After all, you can't be well informed if you only hear one side of an issue, right? You get it all on this show. This show, by the way, is the Geek Speak Show presents Issues of the Day. Here are your hosts, Henry San Miguel, Emily Mata, and Shanclen.
Okay, we're all here for this month's Issues of the Day. We're going to try something different. There's just no guests, meaning no Mark Pope, no Trent Tucker from Geek Off the Street, nobody else. It's just us. Us is Emily Mata, of course, you just heard it. And I think you've heard him in a while. The Nerdy Navajo, Shanclen. Happy belated birthday to both of you, by the way, before we do anything else. But welcome back to the show.
I'm old now.
Oh, you got to turn your hearing aid on. I'm saying happy belated birthday to you.
Huh.
Thank
One more
you.
time. One more time for me, Henry.
Yeah, Shanclen swears he is ancient now.
I woke up ancient that day for sure. My neck was hurting.
Okay. How many times are we going to hear that story? My neck was hurting when I woke up. I am getting old, but yeah, wait till you get to my age. Then you'll really be feeling some pain. But like I said, we're, and I know some of you are probably thinking, wait a minute. There's, like Yoda said, there is another. You all hear Aaron Dill on the See You at the Con feature, but as he told you in his first feature, he's not really an on-air guy, at least not on a regular episode. He's okay with the feature, recording that, but that's as far as he'll take the this talking on the mic stuff. So it's just us three for today, but that's not the different thing that we're trying. Instead of explaining it, though, I could go into a whole, believe me, I could go into a whole hour-long explanation as to why, but instead of that, we'll just get into it right after this.
The Issues of the Day will continue in a moment.
Join the Geek Speak Show at their first ever live event, the Geek Speak Expo. Happening on Saturday, August 8th at Casa 723 in Fullerton.
I know you're gonna dig this.
You'll meet and hear from geek culture creators like composers Jacob Yoffe and Rowan Hilton, Mark Tullius, creator of the Try Not to Die interactive book series, the Skullcado comics artists, Jeffrey Snow, founder and lead writer of Snowstorm Comics. There will be even more speakers and panels announced in the coming weeks, including a panel for up-and-coming filmmakers and a panel highlighting women and their contributions to the comic book industry. Spoiler alert, they're not just artists. Tickets will go on sale once all the speakers are announced. Be sure to make plans to join the Geek Speak team this fall at Casa 723 in Fullerton for the Geek Speak Expo.
Free Comic Book Day is on Saturday, May 2nd. The Geek Speak Show will spend this year's Free Comic Book Day at... Sorry, all will be revealed shortly. Keep listening.
Now back to the Issues of the Day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Geek Speak Show. Today, we're diving into our Issues of the Day. This one is a big one. Where are conventions headed? From Comic Cons to fan expos, there's a space that's always been about community, creativity, and connection, but lately things have been shifting. We're seeing conventions grow bigger than ever, with massive crowds, celebrity guests, and corporate influences taking center stage. At the same time, though, there's a growing conversation whether these events are losing some of their original spirit. The grassroots, the artist-focused energy that made them feel like home in the first place. So today we're asking, are conventions evolving for the better, or are they drifting too far from their roots? what does this mean for artists, fans, and creators trying to find their place in these spaces? Let's get right into it.
Did you come up with this a few weeks ago at WonderCon?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, because we kind of had this conversation there, and I had this conversation with a lot of people. I think I talked about it actually on the episode after that. Not that, like what you're saying, Emily, not where it's becoming too, I guess, commercialized is the word, because that's always been the case with all conventions. That's what they are. But well, I mean, be more specific. What exactly is the issue you're asking? Before I say something.
Well, what I asked was, like, are they, I did say, are they evolving for the better, or are they just being too far from their roots? I'm thinking because, in this sense, like what we experienced at WonderCon, it really was a different shift for a lot of people. There wasn't as many things for people to do, so a lot of them didn't really stick around for very long. And so that slightly does affect the way that, like, people do travel around the convention and how long do they stay at that convention, and, you know, for artists as well. Speaking from, I guess, an artist standpoint, that also affects on how we get shown to other people. They ended up splitting Artist Alley in two. I believe we brought that up in another episode, but that was something that also surprised me as well, is that they split Artist Alley. So a lot of people didn't even know that there was a second part of Artist Alley.
No.
So a lot of people didn't get the attention that they deserved. So, and that's why I was kind of wondering why. I was curious about your guys' both point of view, as Shanclen is a avid goer of conventions.
Well, he's a buyer at conventions, really. Before you say that, though, what I was gonna say about it, not really answering specifically yours, but I will now.
Yeah.
You got to remember not to play the age card like Mark and Trent do when they're here. Well, I'm older. I actually am older, obviously, but you got to understand, conventions used to be something different when I started going to them. Even San Diego Comic-Con wasn't what it is today, not even close to it. It was a glorified garage sale, basically, is what you could call it. It was in the lobby of a hotel. A lot of the conventions that I used to go to or hear about, some were in comic book shops, some were, again, the lobbies of hotels or some small places like that. And all it was, and Shanclen would have loved this, is just comic book dealers taking back issues and selling them. That was it. There were no panels. There were no. Every now and then you would get to meet Jack Kirby or Stan Lee or Chris Claremont or one of the current editors or artists or writers at the time, and that was a big deal. But that was about it. There were definitely no Hollywood panels. Hollywood and comic books, those were like two opposing mannequins. They would just bump away from each other. They had one had nothing to do with the other. They also didn't have comic book movies at the time back yet, so they weren't. It wasn't really part of the culture, the zeitgeist yet. So people from my generation, we're used to conventions not really being fun or exciting or anything. You just again, Shanclen would have loved this. You just go hunting for the comic books that you might be missing or some that you didn't even know existed, and you're like, hey, I gotta add this to my collection. So that's what it was. I would say around the time when WonderCon started becoming a thing, the Wonderful World of Comics, it was called back then in Oakland. That's when it started to change a little bit. Definitely when Comic-Con bought it and brought it to San Francisco and it became WonderCon. That's when it started becoming basically a mini Comic-Con, like a warm up to Comic-Con. That's why I call the episode of that. And a lot of the conventions that have popped up since, Emerald City and all the other ones that C2E2 and all the ones around the country, around the world really, but especially here on the country, they're now been following in San Diego Comic-Con's footsteps, and Comic-Con became what it is now. The word that we don't say here, but we gotta give props when it do. It wasn't Spider-Man, it wasn't the MCU, it was Twilight of all things that actually started the lining up for Hall H and wanted to be in all these panels, and the little girl screaming when what was the actor's name? Batman. What was his name in I forget the
Edward.
character. Yeah. When they were on stage, that's actually what started that. Now, other conventions, they started being fun, and I would say around late 90s to early 2000s for sure. That's when what you like, Artist Alley, that started becoming a thing. That's when not just the names, not just the Jim Lees and those guys from DC, from Image, from Marvel, not just them. They started conventions across the country. They started highlighting and providing the space for independent artists, which is pretty cool because you got to see things that otherwise you wouldn't know because social media wasn't a thing back then. So that was the only way you could see these artists was at Artist Alley at conventions. Now, today, 2026, has conventions lost a little bit of that? Well, I'll only speak to the ones that I go to, the local ones, WonderCon, obviously, Comic-Con, Long Beach Expo, LA Comic-Con, the ones that are here. I would have to say, not really. This is what I was talking about at WonderCon with some people that said it was too light and then it's not the same WonderCon as before. Well, a lot of it has to do also with two factors. One is the price of everything is going up again. So it unfortunately it's coming down to luxuries. It's a luxury. People have to decide, well, do I want to eat for the week or have gas for the car so I can go to school, go to work? Or do I want to go check out this cool convention? So it's coming down to that, unfortunately. And on the other side, on the entertainment side, the panels, I know this because I get to talk to them, behind the scenes. A lot of the studios, they have this attitude that Anaheim is too far for WonderCon. Anaheim is too far for them to go. But yet they'll go to San Diego Comic-Con. I think what it is that they're starting to see or think, I don't know how or why it happened. I have a theory. WonderCon isn't the place to go anymore. You don't need to take your movie to WonderCon. Like everybody knows, you got to take it to Hall H, you got to take it to Comic-Con, or nobody's gonna know your movie or your show's coming out. That's an attitude that they have. That's why they go to San Diego. But WonderCon has lost a little bit of that. My theory is that they lost that when they stopped using the arena. The arena is the big dome building that's the first building you see when you walk into the convention center, and that was basically their Hall H when they moved to Anaheim, and they haven't used it. They haven't even used it for the masquerade anymore. So there are people, unfortunately, yes, that do go to conventions just to stargaze, basically. If they know that this show is going to be there or this movie is going to be there and so and so is going to be there, they're gonna go just for that. They don't care about Artist Alley or Small Press or the exhibit. They don't have time for that. They're in line all day. They're living in Hall H or in the arena when that was out there. So for independent artists, and I've had this conversation with them off the air and sometimes on the air, honestly, it's not really worth it. It's not really worth it going to, I don't know how much they charge for tables now. I'm assuming it's not going to be $3, but you would know, Emily, you table at these conventions. Is it even worth it anymore, spending whatever they charge you because Marvel's going to be there or Disney or Star Wars or Pokemon or something else, and people aren't even going to go to Artist Alley? That is the balance that a lot of these conventions, and I'll deal with WonderCon and Comic-Con because they're the two biggest ones here where we are. That's the balance that they have to strike, where people have gotten kind of used to, when you go to a convention, it's not just back issues, it's not just comic book thing, it's also video games, it's also anime, it's also the movies, the TV shows, Netflix bring their shows, all of these things. So I'm gonna turn it around. My answer to your question is yeah, a little bit. I think they've lost their focus, I'll say, a little bit as to what they're supposed to be. Comic-Con, not really. It's Comic-Con. But I'll turn it around on you guys. I guess, Shanclen, you jump in. Which ones do you enjoy more? I can answer because just watching you two at the conventions, but which ones do you enjoy more? The ones that have the balance or are just artist heavy? You can meet independent artists.
Honestly, the more the merrier. And it was Comic-Con in San Diego Comic-Con. For me, it was fun because there was a lot of things happening at the same time, and it reminded me of Disneyland. In the sense, like, it's kind of expensive to go
including the lines.
In the lines, but also it's such a huge thing that you have to come back and check out new stuff the next year. But even in some of the like concerts or artists or movies, it's always something new, which is pretty cool. So I would understand, like, from an artist perspective, yeah, that's very true. But for me, like, it was more so of an experience because I've never been to any huge cons ever until WonderCon, and then I went to Comic-Con, and you can get overstimulated for sure. There's a lot of stuff going on everywhere. Like, you got 2 hotels where there's doing interviews, you got a concert on a little island in the bay, and then you got, you know, all these vendors, artists, and then you got demonstrations, and then guys selling CDs in downtown San Diego, and they're just trying to con you, and Isaac almost got conned. And yeah, I mean, like, I'm just there for the vibes, honestly. Have a lot of fun.
That's one of our camera guys. He's not talking about Isaac from the Orville.
Shout out Isaac.
I think for me, though, it's such a, I would say double-edged sword, but I think both ways are good because I'm thinking with Shanclen saying it's a lot. It's fun. There's so many things for you to see and do. And I think behind the table, it's pretty great because you get a lot of people who were initially going for one thing, but they stumble upon your table and they're like, "Whoa, I didn't know this was here. I didn't know I would be so interested in what it is you have to offer." And you get a lot of mix of people who, you know, wouldn't necessarily come to Artist Alley to check out your stuff. So that's always really fun. But then again, it's what Shanclen was saying, that, like, it's a lot. It's a lot to get through. And, you know, then again, it's like another 50-50 chance that somebody may find your table and want to, like, maybe purchase something there. And that's what I was kind of going into because I was kind of on top of this issue, but something I want to talk about, it is kind of like a luxury, though. Like, is that as things get higher in price, does that make these experiences more of a luxury? Do people feel more limited in their spending as to where they want to go and what they want to do? And, you know, like, for us creatives, people who want to display their movies and their art and stuff, like, it's, I think on both ways, it's like, it's growing into sort of that. It's becoming very limited.
You know, I'm not recording the video for this one, but, you know, as you're saying that you saw Shanclen thing, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's, we laugh, but it's not just Shanclen, like I was saying, it's everybody. Yeah. But I was gonna, let me ask you this. I was thinking about this as you were talking, Emily. Mm-hmm. Emily, had you gone to a convention before you started tabling, just as an attendee?
Yes, I did. I ended up going to, we call it just the Ontario Comic-Con, but I know there's a name for it.
Comic-Con Revolution.
Revolution, yeah. So that was the first convention I had ever been to in general. I was invited to go to attend, and that was a really, as for how small it was, I think it was the best way to really get introduced to it, because they have like a whole room dedicated to Artist Alley, and that was kind of the world I wanted to be a part of, and I think that was really a great experience because it's a nice intimate con. It's not too overwhelming like Comic-Con, and it's kind of like, what's going on, or where am I going to go? But it was nice enough that you can meet other artists and actually talk to them and have a moment with them. So that, I think that was a nice blend of things going on. Nice enough to really experience what a con is like.
Let's also give everybody a behind the scenes look. Don't mention numbers or names. Just, we're talking in generalities here. Mm-hmm. As a tabling artist at these conventions, whatever the table costs, is it worth it? How would I put it? at the end of the day, whether it's a 3-day or a 2-day convention, what do you, as an artist, what do you consider a win or a successful convention for you?
It depends on how much you spent for the overall trip. Because you could put almost a huge chunk of your money down for a table and, nobody came by and nobody said anything, or, you didn't really get that good of a reaction as you thought you would, and you kind of just walk away feeling really defeatist. I think that's something they don't talk about in the art community, is that what is a win, what isn't a win? How do you go back home and, not feel defeatist about your experience? And like, how do you keep coming back more for it? It's like, do I want to do another con? I'm almost 400, almost $1,000 down the hole. Like, how do you keep going after that?
That
like,
you're never getting back.
That you're never getting back. And so, like we say, it's a gamble, really. It's a gamble. If you're going to make any of that back, you might make half of that back. You might make even more than that back. I feel like for me, I like when I make more of that back. But I think also, too, it depends on the connections I make as well. Like, did I meet somebody that I think will open another opportunity for me? Or did I have a really good conversation with somebody that, made them want to pursue what it is that I'm doing? I think it depends on what you count as a win. What do you count as a thing that keeps you going? But I feel like those are some of the things that puts me in a pretty good mood after a con. It makes me feel good walking away from a con knowing that, maybe I did encourage somebody to be an artist or to put their stuff out there.
Well, Shanclen has an answer for that. They're called smoke breaks, but we'll talk about those later. But let me ask you this, Shanclen, actually. Now, like I said, you've actually seen both now. You've gone from WonderCon and our own, even though it wasn't for Geek Speak. We'll have the Geek Speak Expo later, but when we had the paranormal show, we did paranormal events. They were smaller. And then you've gone from those to the big one, to Hall H, not just San Diego Comic-Con, Hall H, the Marvel panel in San Diego Comic-Con. Out of all of those, to you, what is your favorite type of experience when it comes to a convention or this kind of event?
Variety and discovery. That's one of the, of course, San Diego Comic-Con is the biggest one, and so, but I will have to say WonderCon.
You got to touch his pal, Pedro,
yes. That one had the most variety as far as for vendors and just stuff to do. But WonderCon, I'll always remember the first time you took us to WonderCon and just opening my eyes. And it was really interesting. That was one of the last times at WonderCon. I think they had they were airing the cast for Daryl's show from The Walking Dead was there. And there was a lot of people, and then the next year there's a good amount of interviews and stuff. I just kind of seen throughout the years, WonderCon has kind of really gone down a lot as far as for having variety in vendors and people attending. Because when I went over there and at Comic-Con, walking up and down the aisles and seeing stuff that's really, I guess you could say, unique to something I've never seen before is very cool. I grew up in a small town in the deserts of Navajo Nation in Arizona, and never did I ever imagine I was going to see a whole section of WonderCon be everything about Gundams, which was really cool. And then there was a whole nother section of Demon Slayer, and then there was a whole nother section of a guy selling Japanese Oni masks, and he was selling stickers and pins and stuff. And we met the lightsaber guys. I met Casper Van Dien over there, and it just stuff I wouldn't feel like. I feel like if I did not see those in person, I would not have gotten into any of those. It was something about that place being in an environment around people that love that energy, and then that love of that energy seeps into you, even though you're not into that stuff. But you're being kind of empathic and like, oh, I see what you see in this now. Instead of seeing it through a phone, you see it in person. And so actually drop like $300 buying some figurines at Gundam that one year. And, I started building Gundams, and then collecting Funko Pops to now getting comic books now. And yeah, they had a sword section too. The actual swords over there was pretty cool. But it's very interesting to, like how I mentioned, it's the vibes. And you get to actually see the magic in people, and then they share that magic whenever they see, whether that be an actor or they see like the Star Wars booth, you see like the Acolyte lightsabers that's right there. Everyone's like, oh my God. And then you're like, oh my God. Yeah, that's awesome too. And it just kind of leeches off onto you, and it's a good thing.
Yeah, I could ask something else, but then we'll go on forever. But yeah, there's the first issue. That was a good one, actually, Emily. So take a little break. Shanclen, get yours ready. You also have an issue, and you will find out what that is right after this.
The issues of the day will continue in a moment.
Free Comic Book Day is on Saturday, May 2nd. The Geek Speak Show will spend this year's Free Comic Book Day at... Sorry, all will be revealed shortly. Keep listening.
Now back to the issues of the day.
Okay, now we're good. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Geek Speak Show. My name is Shanclen, host of the Navajo Nerdy News. And now I hope you guys are enjoying the episode, because I have a topic I feel like is going to be relatable to a very specific type of nerdy people out there like myself that I have recently...
Navajos?
Not specifically Navajos, but today all you listeners are Navajos. So if there's any specific nerdy Navajos out there that read comic books, I have an issue with some of the series that I have been reading.
I see what you did there. He has an issue, comic book issue.
Yeah. Henry knows. All you Navajos, you guys all know. You guys are all Navajo today. Anyways, I have been reading comic books recently. It's really cool. It's really amazing. But one of the issues I've been having is some of these series that I have been reading. I need to get the green light from Henry if I need to name these out. But some of these series, I feel like their endings are rushed, and I do not like it. I feel like some comic book series need to have one more issue just to tie up the series that they're doing. And I'm talking, maybe it's because I'm reading limited series that are like maybe 5 issues, and that's just how those are. I haven't gotten into those series that go to like 20, 30, 40 issues. I'm not too sure. I haven't gotten those yet. My wallet has not agreed with me with those ones yet. But I've only been able to afford the 5 series ones. But the endings are always cut short. And recently today I finished reading one, and it was a good series, but the ending kind of ruined it for me. It just didn't make sense.
Well, the funny thing is, I've kind of asked you guys this before, because that you could apply that to, and you kind of slipped there and said it, shows, TV shows, series. I think we're getting 8, maybe 10 episodes at the most. I remember a time, Walking Dead was one, where it used to be 22 or 24 episode seasons. There were a lot of shows that were 22 or 24 episode seasons. Now they all do seem rushed. So yeah, I get it on a book. I will say though, and I'm sure a lot of people were smiling and laughing when they heard you say that. I'll speak for them. I'll say it out loud for you guys. Shanclen, it says on the cover, limited series. That means it has an end.
I know that, but you would imagine, like, I'm pretty sure the writer knows it's a limited series, don't end the whole series on one page. Like, don't give yourself just one page to wrap up everything. And that's something that like doesn't really make sense to me. I'll give you an example. I'm not going to name names.
Wait. You can name names if you want.
Okay. So I love Alien versus Captain America. I love it. It was great. But spoiler alert, everybody who may be reading this, at the end, it goes to where they beat the xenomorphs. People die. A lot of people died. And it's just Captain America saluting the people that helped him beat the xenomorphs away. Literally the next page, it says modern day. And Captain America's frozen. And how he got frozen, I'm not too sure. They beat Hydra. They beat everybody. They beat the Red Skull. So how he got into the frozen, I'm not sure how the hell that happened. But they found him. And then they started thawing him out of the ice. And then they're like, oh, what's that behind his shield? And it's a face hugger. And I'm like, come on. Like, it's kind of stuff like that to where they could have just ended it right there. But I've also kind of been seeing this on like other Marvel comic books of the other kinds of Predators and stuff like that. Predator kills the Marvel Universe. The ending just seemed like it was rushed. They took their time with the buildup. They took their time with the meat of the story. But the ending is always rushed to 1 or 2 pages. And I feel like if there was one more issue, I know it's a limited series, but if they had one more issue to wrap it up and actually, share the stories, I guess it depends on the writer, because previous, I would have to say Predator versus Spider-Man, Predator versus Black Panther was good. This kind of Predator versus kills the Marvel Universe, Aliens, it just kind of depends on the writer. And I feel like I've seen this enough in a couple different series to where they do not wrap up the ending pretty well. And I guess that translates to TV shows too as well.
Emily, jump in because I'm going to say something and it may get a little philosophical. I'll think about it. Maybe, may not. But you jump in while I think about it.
Well, I was going to say, like, I get where Shanclen is coming from, like, and where you were coming from, Henry. Like, where I personally am used to longer series. Like, I'm used to the 22 episode per season, and they'd tell a longer story, and we had a lot more time. And this is, I guess, speaking for TV shows, which I think as a whole, they're formatting of something like, there's so many other decisions made behind that. But when you're writing a comic book, now that's a little bit more different because, we have like, I'm referencing now like the Absolute series. I just picked up my Absolute Wonder Woman trade the other day, and I totally get that part where it's like, man, and I'm not saying for this story in general, but just comic books, when I know it's a pretty short run of comics, and it does say that there. That is, like, everybody's kind of aware of that. But I think also it talks about the writing and the writer. How do you end something off there, and how do you go forward with that? And, and it seems like it's kind of like leaving with like a sort of a cliffhanger, if that's what I'm understanding from that. Like,
some of them are cliffhangers, but it's like you would pick up this trend on how the writer writes his comic book, and it's in great detail. It flows really good. Mm-hmm. And then, but like, there's almost like a scapegoat kind of thing. It's kind of like a trend of like, what do you call those? It's like, it's an event that's like, oh, okay. It made it too easy for the hero to win, and they just ended it. Like, it's almost like those,
plot armor,
but it's like almost when you're a kid, when you're playing these like war games, it's like, oh, I have a ray that shoots through your shield. Well, my shield is made of anti-laser thing. And so, oh, okay. And instead of like building off of it,
I'm going to throw a planet at you.
Well, my planet is bigger than your planet. You know,
well, I can throw the universe.
It's kind of something like that, and it's like they're like, okay, and then they're defeated, and I'm just like, what? You know, and then it's just like happily ever after, like, and immediately in the next couple slides, and I'm like, no, like the whole thing, they were getting their ass whooped. I'm sorry, they're getting their butts whooped. The entire comic book series, all the way up into the last 2 pages.
That he centers himself for.
Except for the last 2 pages. And then they lose all of that work because of something small. And it's just like, you know, or that like the story kind of takes you somewhere else. That's something that like, I really do feel like it's rushed. I've read a couple series now. And I don't know if that's how it is. Has it always been like that with comics, Henry? Like in your history of reading comics, you know, I'm new in this, so I need to go to you guys. Like, is there other comic book series that you guys have read where they do end it off really well? I need hope here.
Well, Emily, do you have any before I say some?
Like on the top of my head, I probably should come up with some. I'm the comic person here, but This is bad on me.
Because while you think, I have an easy answer actually for that.
You can go ahead.
The answer number 1 is yes. Every single one, every single comic. Again, it's called a cliffhanger. That's what got people to go and buy. But again, I wasn't reading limited series. There were limited series. I mean, one of the big ones was Secret Wars, the original Secret Wars. I remember when that one came out. I remember The Watchmen when that first came out. It came out not as a limited series, but as a series. But we knew there was going to be an ending at some point. So I think it was like 6 or 8 issues when it first came out. But that one, the thing about the Watchmen one, that one had a definite ending. The like, I think Superman is coming, or Spawn, and I say this only because I was talking to Todd McFarlane, because he was supposed to be on the show, but there's some things going on. He's not, but I wasn't even aware. He reminded me that he's getting ready for Spawn number, I think he said 300 or something, some really big number. And then I didn't even realize. I said, wait a minute, Spawn has been going on for that long? And there's other titles. That's actually why he was going to come on. He's going to announce a new team for that's writing and the artist on Spawn. But things like Superman, Batman, all the DC characters, the original Marvel character, the Avengers, Iron Man, all of those, they have been around for a long, long time, long before any of us three were even born. I know I say I'm old, but they're even older than I am. So yeah, they've been around. They've been through a lot of writers, a lot of artists, a lot of everything. The thing about that is, how do I say it? Do you want an end to these things? Because I don't know if you know or you did any research on this. Are we the only ones complaining about this? Because I know I've complained about this as far as TV shows and comic books and just books in general. I've complained about it many times on the Geek Speak Show, long before you two came on. I think Shanclen is like the second or maybe third time that you mention it. Emily, I don't think you've mentioned it yet. Even in our private conversation, you haven't mentioned that. But other than us three, the Geek Speakers, is anybody else complaining about this? And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm just saying, are we the only ones that seem to notice this? And that this is where I guess philosophical is the way to put it, because is it an artist thing or a publisher thing, or is it an audience thing where because of the way things are, and this kind of ties into what I'm going to bring up in a minute, my issue, there's just so much stuff. We are bombarded constantly, minute by minute, by something on your social media feed, a TV show, or now something's coming out from CinemaCon from this week, or Comic-Con when that's coming out. Even if you're not there, there's a trailer, or this happened, or so-and-so got cast as this. And then there's real world breaking news, and then something's happening in your family, or something happening at your job or at school. So we're like the Exorcist. Our head is spinning around constantly. Look at this, look at this, look at that, look at this, look at this. So is it the audience that demands shorter stories, or is it the publishers that are demanding the shorter stories? That's the question that I'm throwing out there.
See, that's a good question. And I wanted to add on to that because it just recently came up that an Adult Swim TV show, Smiling Friends, I believe they ended their last season. It was like season 3, I believe. I can search this up. But a lot of people have mixed reactions that it is like the end of the show. But the thing is, it's #1 on, I think, HBO right now. It's #1 everywhere. It's like a hit cartoon, adult cartoon series. And a lot of people are like, well, why are they finishing it? Why is it coming to an end? Why it's on the top of its game? Why are we ending this? But it either really does go one or two ways. It's like either you die a hero or you live long enough to become the villain. And that's where I guess your question comes, or your philosophical answer to this. It's kind of like, it's interesting. Where do you end the story? When do you end the really good thing? Because do we just take it as far as we can and it just sort of loses its meaning, its soul? But we've seen series that have, gone on and, sometimes it dips down into their worser parts, but then it goes back up and it's really, really good. So it's kind of like, how long do we take this? How long do we make this thing keep going? Like till you're 90? But,
well, I mean, as you were saying that, because it's animated, it made me think of something else, and I'm sure all of you are thinking about it. The Simpsons, 38 seasons, and not even close to being canceled. And honestly, I don't know if you two watch it. I watched it when it first came out. I haven't watched The Simpsons. What the heck is it about at this 38 years later? What do they do?
I have no idea.
Honestly,
I never watched it.
I've seen clips of it, as any TikTok people do. You just see clips of whatever is the newest episode, and it's always still sort of satirical.
But did you realize what you did right there, Emily? That's boom right there. Exactly what you said. My point that I was making. That's how everybody watches or consumes everything. Clips. Yeah, you don't watch the shows or the movies. It kind of explains, again, the issue that I'm going to bring up in a little bit. And I've asked this a lot on the Geek Speak Show, and then when we do the issues of the day, I've asked this a lot to many different people, the actors, to when Mark and Trent come on, and Shanclen and I have talked about this just in private conversation. I don't get it. I'm old, but is that the reason why everybody needs to know? Like, for example, we're getting all this stuff from CinemaCon in Las Vegas this week. Everybody wants to know, is it Daredevil in the jail with Spider-Man, or who is he fighting with those ninjas? They fooled us before with the trailer hiding the other two Spider-Man. And we know there's somebody there. Why do you need to know? Why don't you just wait until it comes out? Why do you need to know what happens in Doomsday? Why do you need to know what's happening with Godzilla minus zero? We just got a second trailer, a tease, really. And everybody wants to know, why is he by the Statue of Liberty? Why is he so big? Is he working? What's going on? Everybody wants to know that. All of this stuff has led to us losing our sense of wonder. That I didn't want to bring this up while you two were talking about, or Emily, while you brought up the, I thought you were going to go there, but you mentioned an animated show. I thought you were going to talk about another one that we talked about here, how he ended and started the year. Stranger Things, the way that ended. You know how everybody reacted. It was a huge hit. Obviously, there's people dressing up as Stranger Things characters. Everybody has Stranger Things something, but everybody was. I don't want to say divided, but I guess that's the way to put it, because, like I said, it was very generational. The older you are, probably because you lived during that time, you got it. You got exactly what was going. You weren't really looking. I'll say because I was one of them. You weren't really looking for, kind of like in Lost, explanations. Why is the island moving? Why is this? What's the Dharma Initiative? The Stranger Things, same thing. I didn't really care why the Demogorgons are there or not. What happened to the army? Doesn't matter. But then you have people who get so bombarded with details and this and that and memes for this and memes for that. And here's a reaction to the trailer. Here's things you missed in that trailer. Here's things you missed in the reaction to my reaction to the trailer. That now you got to question everything, and nobody has that sense of wonder anymore. That's what's missing in a lot of the media that we consume today, especially in America. That's why when I ask you guys, when Shanclen brings up, the Korean movies has that. I'm not downing them and I'm bringing them down and I'm making fun of you or anything. But I'm asking you, what do those have that we don't have? Because everything that you mentioned, they just make me cry. There's a lot of American movies that have been made that are out there that do the exact same thing. So what is it different? Is it just because it's Korean? Just because it's from another country somewhere else? We're still human. It's still the human adventure. It's just a different language, different this, different that. Again, goes back to the fact that I think there's just too much stuff that we as civilization, we've lost our sense of wonder at this point.
Yeah, I was going to add on to that too, is that it's almost instant gratification. I think it's just sort of that. We constantly have everything in the palm of our hand at all times, constantly. And I feel like that's how it got into like animated movies, especially. Like I know we're going to a far end, but it's still all very related. But like Beyond the Spider-Verse, like that just recently came out. The teaser pictures from the movie just recently came out. What was that, yesterday? Or no, as we're recording this, technically yesterday. But yeah, like how a lot of people are like, man, we waited 4 years for this. It better be good. It better be a 4-hour movie. And it's like, yeah, this thing is going to take time. And it's interesting. A lot of people are like, man, why is every movie like super bad? And, why is this written this way and this way? And I'm like, well, think about how long the people had to write it. They kind of just like woke up one morning, had to come up with something. So it's not as thought out and planned.
I was gonna say, I think I smell some
teen spirit
network trickery with that Aliens versus Captain America, because how it would have ended, like with just Captain America saying goodbye to the people that helped him out, would have been great. but I feel like the industry or whoever was just like, you got to leave it on a cliffhanger somehow. And like they threw in that part of modern day, he's frozen again. I feel bad for Captain America. I'm just like, damn, you beat the guy that put you like in the Marvel movies in ice. And it's just like, this guy, no matter what he does, he's going to get frozen. We don't know how it happened this time, but he's just like forever in every multiverse has to be frozen.
You know what though? I'm glad we're recording this because you're 1,000,000% correct. That is in the 21st century going into the 22nd. That is how you write and market anything. Films, TV shows, video games, books, comic books, graphic, whatever it is. That's how you got to do it. Again, like I said, there's just so much stuff that you've got. It's called stickiness. It used to apply only to video games. Way back in season number 1 when we did the video game addiction episode, we talked at the time, Ryan Van Cleve, the author, he talked about how that is how video game programmers, they approach video games that they did at the time. They program in what's called stickiness, meaning when you're at work, when you're at school, wherever you are, you're not concentrating on work or whatever you're doing. You're concentrating on, how do I beat that level? How do I beat that boss? I got to get to the next level. I got to get, whatever it is. That's the stickiness. Same thing here with social media, especially. Like Emily said, everything is right there. As soon as you hear or a neighbor or somebody, a friend of yours or somebody texts you, oh, did you see that Godzilla teaser? It's right there. In my time, and this is, yes, the old guy talking, you had one shot to watch trailers. That's it. When you went to watch a movie, you saw the trailer, that's it. You never saw it again. If you wanted to see a trailer, you had to go back to the movie theater to watch it again. Today, people don't even go to the movies anymore. We watch the trailers before we started recording. So that's what I'm saying. There's just too much stuff. And I don't think there's an answer to what Shanclen brought up. So I'm going to leave that one there, not to leave it on a cliffhanger, but I guess I kind of will. I'll just say this one will be continued later. So let me wrap up with my issue. Let me take a little break, and then I'll bring up my issue. Kind of tied into a little bit to what we just talked about. And you saw it on our social media. I've teased it a little bit last week. I'm also going to reveal something. And that something has to do with comic books. Comic book movie? Maybe. They're right there. You'll find out.
Free Comic Book Day is on Saturday, May 2nd. The Geek Speak Show will spend this year's Free Comic Book Day at... Sorry, all will be revealed shortly. Keep listening.
Now back to the issues of the day.
Wrapping up the issues of the day, actually, because I'm making an executive decision. That is why my the digital business card that I have now, I don't have the old one anymore. But that's why it says executive producer, because I make decisions like this. And that is, I ain't going to do my issue because it's a little repetitive. I was thinking about it during that little break. It's a little bit repetitive. Plus, I want to get to this. Those of you that are wondering, I know there's a few of you, I was going to talk about, are we getting too many things from CinemaCon Las Vegas going on? I know you're all waiting for, but I know that's what you're waiting for. And that's what I was going to ask. Are we getting too much stuff? But we kind of covered that in Shanclen's topic. So instead, before we get out of here, I'm going to do this. I'm going to reveal something. Not how many Spider-Men are in this new movie, not how many Daredevils are in this new movie. I ain't saying nothing. I'm just using it as an example. Don't get crazy. As you all know, Free Comic Book Day is always on the first Saturday in May. This year, that falls on Saturday, May 2nd. Since the Geek Speak Show's first season, we've always spent it at Free Comic Book Day's birthplace, Flying Colors Comics and other cool stuff in Concord. Now, we didn't go to any shop last year. I don't remember. I think it was because of my health issues that I was going through at the time, and I didn't feel like doing anything really, let alone Free Comic Book Day. So I think that's why. I don't remember. Do you remember why, Shanclen? Or we just didn't do it?
I was deep in prayer for you, and we were in the mountains of the Himalayas performing ceremonies to ascend your soul back onto this earth.
And he had a little ring thing, and he started making circles, and hey, look, it worked. We're still here. Yep. So this year we are going to cover Free Comic Book Day. Where are we going to be? Well, I'll tell you this. It's not, for the first time in 16 years, it's not going to be at its birthplace. It's not going to be at Flying Colors Comics and other cool stuff. I know everybody at the Bay Area was waiting for us to go back there. Not this year. So for Free Comic Book Day, where are we going to be? Well, now I get to announce it. And look, we actually have a budget now. We actually have a drum roll. For 2026, we will be in the Academy Awards, wherever that theater is called. No, we're going to be actually, and this was, you told me about this, Emily, at Four Color Fantasies in Rancho Cucamonga. I've never been there. You told me about it, like I said. That's where you're going to be actually, Skolcato Comics, your team. You guys are all going to be there. As we were talking one day, I asked Emily, hey, what are you guys doing for Free Comic Book Day? And she said, we're going to be here. And I said, wait, what's the name of the shop? Four Color Fantasies. It's pretty close to Flying Colors Comics. It's got the word color in it. So I said, and then when you tell me it's long lines, there's a lot of people, it's really exciting there. I think it's the best one. I said, okay, hold it. Right there, I got to stop you because no. Yes, biased, but nothing, no shop, no matter what, is bigger than Flying Colors Comics. The party started there and it always goes there. So we'll see. But that's where we're going to be. Four Color Fantasies in Rancho Cucamonga. Now, you're going to be there. Your team's going to be there, Emily. With the Geek Speak Show, we're going to have a table there. I'm not going to tell you all the details. I'll just say we will have some free things too. The comics will be there. You can go into the shop, you'll get the comic books. I will have some free comic books. I'll say that. Also, some free card games based on some properties that you all be very familiar with. And I'm also going to have a giveaway related to our Geek Speak Expo. All of that I'll reveal in a couple of weeks as we get ready for Free Comic Book Day. But that's what we're going to be. 4 Color Fantasies, Rancho Cucamonga. 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. is when everything is happening. So you guys go there if you can. And that's it. That's all we're going to do. So for the two of you, I have it on the website, but they like hearing it from you guys. So let everybody know where they can watch all the stuff that you guys do when you're not speaking geek.
So they can catch me on my newly named account, Emily Mata Official, on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.
And you can find me, Shanclen, at the Linktree. I'm not even going to attempt to say everything that I got. I got everything on there, so go check out the Linktree, everybody.
Yeah, because then we have to get into underscores and rainbows and hooking fish by this.
Mm-hmm.
And then you need an arrow at the end of the day. So
Linktree,
I'll have it on the show description. Just click on Shanclen's name and Emily's name, and it'll take you to where they are. So next week, come back and we will, what, Emily?
Speak more geek.
That's your geek therapy for this month. Henry, Emily, and Shanclen will be back next week to speak more geek. They'll be back next month for another Issues of the Day.
The Geek Speak Show was produced and distributed by 22 Creations Multimedia, LLC.